I'm delighted that you're interested in investigating the subject of radiation-free building. The problem is that most houses have, because of their wiring and their exposure to cell phone towers, have an enormous amount of radiation exposure. And that's not good for us during the day, but especially at nighttime it's detrimental. There's this concept of electronic pollution. If we can reduce what people are exposed to, then their health is not as burdened, and then their bodies can do what they can to recover. What do you expect of your four walls? So we have another construction going on. Exciting to see it all get started. So the radio frequency radiation is already nice and low because we're more into the country. So of course we can't be sure what that's going to do in the future. And that's of course why we're still wanting to put shielding in place. Alright, so these bedrooms are going to be shielded with T98 shielding paint. Yeah, these are then the daytime areas. We're going to be putting the GPA mesh on the external walls. And we've had some discussions. The plan is that we're going to put that on the inside of the internal walls. Sorry, the inside of the external walls, so that normal cable can be used behind it. Welcome back. All right, here we are again. It's now a few months down the track, and we're now at the stage where GPA shielding mesh is, we can see it, it's been installed in a large part of the house. Let's go and have a look inside. Everything's coming nicely together. The craftsmanship is just fantastic. Okay, now this is of course a larger project, larger house, but these things are just as easily installed, even easier to install in a smaller construction, and of course the cost would be less. Talking about costs, it's a very, very small percentage of a build. You know, your roof will likely cost a lot more than your shielding, so of course you can argue about the fact you know, what your house is meant to do for you. What do you expect of your four walls? With any home you normally use normal electrical wiring, and this throws out an electric field, which doesn't help your environment. So an option would be to use shielded cable. Alright, so we got the GPA on most of the walls here. It's going to be nicely hidden away. Now we're working on a concrete slab, so the strapping that's going to be connected to ground is hidden nicely in the roof cavity, so the electrician can connect it to ground there, nice and out of sight. Shielded cable is rather thick, it doesn't bend very well. If you have to lead it through stud work, you're going to have to drill holes, a lot of holes. You can't put them all next to each other because that would weaken the integrity of the stud work, right? So you would have to sort of have them all over the place. So now you see here is quite a lot of wiring, right? And so if you imagine if that was all shielded cable, which is really quite thick, then you're going to have to cut a lot more holes in that timber. And this is of course not going to do much for the structure of it. So the decision was made here that it would be easier to use GPA shielding mesh and basically wrap the inside walls of the rooms where we want to reduce this exposure. So what you'll see inside is that we have living spaces that have been covered with GPA mesh on the inside of the walls as a barrier for the wiring behind it. Also some separate rooms, an office, those sorts of areas. So we're now going to have a look inside and show you what that all looks like.
Toilet, cleaned.
Okay, so here's a working space. Again, we see an enormous amount of wiring that has to be routed around the room. So again, shielded cable would have been a problem here. And so it's nice that we can just wrap the room with GPA mesh. So this wall obviously still needs to be put on. Okay, nice overlapping. We need at least an inch. See, so here the application of the GPA mesh has been horizontal, which is easiest way to do. Of course, you have to remember to put your insulation behind it before you put it in. Again, here you see the enormous amount of wiring, and so that's already a bit of a struggle. So if that was shielded cable, that would have put a lot more holes and a lot more work installing it. Right, so all this is going to be nicely hidden away, and the electric field's not able to go into the space anymore because the GPA mesh, which is grounded by the strapping, is going to lead that away. Alright, so in this room also applied around the room, and nicely around the manhole covers and skylights. So we've got that strapping again, crossing each of the horizontal panels, and also going on for the panels that are on the roof. The bedrooms are going to be shielded separately, and for that we'll use T98 shielding paint, because that does give you the highest performance when it comes to radio frequency radiation. So that approach there is a little different. If you are interested in learning more about radiation-free building to create a healthier home environment from the ground up, then please visit radiationfreebuilding.com.